And he goes again, Will. Wonderful job. They're going to pair the Kunkka Shadow Demon once again.
It's hard in the 5v5 scenario, though, when you're against Dazzle, because when you play the Shadow Demon Kunkka, you're kind of trying to eliminate one guy really quick. Same for a Beastmaster, and actually Ursa does the same thing. They need to go on several different targets now.
Oh, good call on the Terrorblade earlier.
Yeah, thanks, boy.
I think, imagine if they went like Ogre or Bounty Hunter or Riki instead of the Kunkka, though. They would just like get crushed in the team fight. They'd have good roam and okay lanes, but overall, though, the team fights would just really go EG's way. Terrorblade, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it's just a very natural pairing with the Tide ulti. Like, you push so early, and Terrorblade hits that peak. When he gets the Dragonlance threats early on in the laning phase, there's not much that can fight against him during the Metamorphosis. You kind of just have to forfeit the towers.
Yeah. Also, if you look at DC's lineup, they have very few ways to deal with them when it comes to the later parts of the game.
Yep.
He can kite around the Ursa. He's going to go for something like the Scotty. There's a lot of single target focus on him. There's a Dazzle, like you said, on the other side.
Exactly. And Terrorblade is one of those illusion heroes that does stack up his illusions close to each other and then fight. And the only AoE they have is really, well, Kunkka. He brings most of it, the ship, if he lands it. Whereas some other illusion heroes like Naga, you don't care about having AoE damage because they're going to split push anyway.
I think DC also have an armor problem, similar to last game. They have ET and Dazzle again on the side of EG, and there's no Warcry, no anything. I think last game they had to buy so many armor items that they couldn't do any damage in the fights. This game is something I would like to see some armor hero. Maybe Sven, I suppose?
Sven's pretty okay, but at the same time, I think he's going to just get kited up.
Okay, and he's going to be taken out together, and EG go right for the Brewmaster here.
That's so good against Ursa. I like it. It's very brave to go for a Brewmaster here, but just a Cyclone on the Ursa, chain cycloning him in the team fights, and then the Drunken Haze impact as well. You can mess so much with DC's lineup. It's kind of heavy committal though, but you do have the Terrorblade to fall back on.
I mean, there's no way they can burst him down before his ulti in any fight. Like, even without the Grave, I think it's really difficult.
Yeah, I feel DC are gonna struggle since they don't really have any silence or anything like that. I would love to see a puck for them, honestly, but they're gonna go for Resolution Slark.
Trusty Slark. I mean, you got one draft left potentially in your tournament life, and I guess they go for a comfort pick here, gentlemen. Now that we do see the spread before us, what do you think is going to happen here for game number 3?
I think EG have probably the more well-rounded lineup. I just think that the team fight is going to be a little bit too hard. You have a Terrorblade who I think is going to scale very well in a game like this. I'm going to go with EG for game number 3.
I also go with EG. I think they have heavy physical damage, not really countered by anything on Digital Chaos, and I think DC are going to really struggle to get Roshan.
I think DC are doing pretty much the same as they've done in previous series. They have their own unique style, but it looks like EG has figured it out. They have adapted a lot in the series, and DC have not. I think EG got this.
Sounds good. Let's do it, folks. It's the last game, game number 3. Evil Geniuses versus Digital Chaos. Let's send it over to our courtside casters now. It's LD and Mott.
Mott, wings are waiting. Comfortable in the grand finals. EG, they've been here before. They got knocked down to the lower bracket last year. They bounced back in a tough 3-game series, and they made it to the grand finals. The analysts have little faith in the DC draft. You and I were talking, is this a Meepo game? Could this be a tanker game, potentially, with the heavy 5-man push from EG? DC go more to the comfort pick here in the Slark. Who do you got for this one?
You know, I kind of agree with the panel with EG and the picks they have, but I feel like there is still ways for DC to win. Resolution can still get farmed up, even as farmed as he was last game. He did struggle, but he can still absolutely take over this game. He has plenty of damage later on down the road. And some early roams from these DC supports as well could actually have a huge impact, but it is game 3, and this is it's all or nothing right now for both of these teams with this draft. By far the most interesting pick is Sumail on that Brewmaster and how much he can get done.
This is like a taste of TI4, where we would see the super heavy 5-man lineups, the old EG style where they'd get like the Enigma Tidehunter, the Void Enigma, the Brewmaster, the big 5-man Deathball type strategy. It's a different engine for the push though. The Terrorblade, something that wasn't seen nearly as much back then, but is equally fearsome in the 5-man in its own right.
Even now, I think the Terrorblade is still falling off in comparison to where he was at Manila and before Manila, or before TI as well, even in the group stages. I feel like Terrorblade, it's not seen the light of day for a period of time.
It's a decent Terrorblade game though. Like the thing I liked about a potential Tinker pick is it gives them a really good way to do with the Illusion Swarm and just the general early 5-man, but they don't have the best Illusion clear. Like for DC to do well in this, sure Kunkka can potentially if he gets super farm, but realistically Realistically, it's a 4-position Conka. You can't expect him to deal with the illusions on his own. They have very little wave clear aside from that. Shadow Poison takes a while to stack up. Isn't going to deal with the main TB. He's protected by a Dazzle. There's no counter for Grave this game. So I think it's like you said, that DC really do need to get something out of the Shadow Demon Kunkka. If not in the first couple minutes, then definitely with that first smoke rotation, those early movements. And already see Saksa is starting with one here. As the battle of the bruisers rages in mid. Sumail skills the clap early. Generally is the first ability you pick up, but it means there's no evasion chance here. So Weehaw can go in.
They got it on Zai, and he's low already. The pounce will come through, leashing him up. Is this going to be first blood? Zai's low, not dead yet, and he will go down.
That's huge.
Last right click from Saksa that gets it done.
Sumail grabbing the point now, Drunken Brawler. So this is where he can equalize things. With the Ursa, you have the attack speed slow of the Thunderclap. You have evasion from Drunken Brawler. Almost certainly expect to see at least 1 point Drunken Haze. And at that point, that early damage, the pressure that Weehaw was putting out, not going to be as easy to do. So important for DC to get kills in the other lanes. Really nice start here. Zai going for the early point in Astral Spirit. It's nice when there's 3 heroes to run it through, but the early point in Echo Stomp is the more defensive build, and it has allowed a lot of teams to get out of situations like that.
So this bottom lane, again, they're kind of leashed here because there's an aggressive dual lane. Sumail, right click's a bit more. Earth Shock, it does hit, I think, a little bit. They have the...
He's going for this. Is there going to be evasion? No, sirree! Weehaw gets it done.
Level 2 Fury swipes, that's all that it takes, and like you said, no misses. And you're good.
I mean, it's a 10% dodge. You cannot rely on the dodge at this stage. It's when you combine it with the Drunken Haze, but Sumail not level 3 yet. That's where the miss chance becomes very high. 45% chance to miss on top of the 10% evasion. He is going to skill at the level 2 clap. So still Weehaw can find openings here, especially if he gets a good rune.
Well, bounties up.
But the good rune goes to Zai as he does grab an invis.
Yeah, Zai will be down bottom, ferreting up and looking for maybe more trouble. You can see that how far Saksa is shadow poisoning zoning out Universe, but he might be able to make a go on Saksa. He's a little too far up. The stomp, there it is. They've caught him. They bring him down in time. I don't think so. 2 stacks of shadow poisoning.
This could go poorly for them. Torrent coming out, then the pounce forward onto Universe as Resolution engages, dropping him low, gets off the anchor smash, is going to lock him in place now. The follow-up damage isn't enough, though. A great 2-hero stomp, and Misery needs this Torrent to connect. Universe going to juke it. There's no pounce to go through, and Misery trapped in the trees. No regen. Death to the club of the Elder Titan, and they're doing it 2v3. They don't have a point in Soul Catcher, and it's only a level 2 Shadow Demon, so they don't really have the burst damage. I think you really want to be going on the Elder Titan there rather than the Tidehunter, who already has 2 points in Kraken Shell, but until they get more levels on these supports, kills on the Tide are going to be hard to come by.
It's just too tanky at this point, like you said, with the Kraken Shell, and even just with base HP as well. But
they got him so low because the anchor smash hadn't gotten off, but once they got off, it was very difficult to continue damaging him.
I like the rotation, though, to mid, as they're setting up for maybe a Torrent kill here onto Sumail, and another kill be huge. They stopped him from farming before when he was playing that DOTA, bringing him down a second time, especially when the first time was a solo kill.
But look at how well Zai is reading the map, already pinning out the likelihood that Misery has left the lane. They have a good observer ward in the enemy jungle. They don't actually see the Elder Titan, but they also don't see him pulling or in the area, so they get suspicious about his position. Instead, Misery will move all the way top here. Moo's not level 6. Difficult to set up a kill. Possible to run down the Terrorblade, but it's a Dazzle lane. There's still a skill point about to be available. He can grab the level 1 Grave if he'd like.
He already torrented the creep wave, so it looks like they're not going for a kill.
Meanwhile, bottom Resolution, he's been left alone, and if you leave a Slark alone against Tidehunter, he is going to get bullied by Anchor Smash. You can get his level 6 and then at least can always heal up under the cover of Shadow Dance, but you can already see Rezo has to back away. If they're not getting kills elsewhere, Mod, this is not an effective move at all for DC. Like if that was an Ursa bottom or something, he would be fine, but given this matchup, he's really going to struggle. And the lane stabilized for EG, a free farming Terrorblade after the early pressure and success mid. Weehaw now even, or close to even on CS with Sumail here as far as last hits go, but can he find a kill?
Drunken Haze did come out, so that's the evasion that you were talking about. So Weehaw will have a tougher time getting right clicks, but he's going again with the Earth Shock.